It's first thing in the morning and your alarm goes off. You turn the alarm off and it's time for you to get up and do your yoga or go for your run or do your meditation practice. It's something that you've decided you're going to stick to and you really want to do. But the bed is very warm and you still feel tired. And you find all sorts of inner objections start to rise up, which suggest alternative things you can do, which are either easier or can be put off to later on. That moment of inner conflict, is what I call the sticking point. And this video is about how to overcome that sticking point, and indeed how to use these internal objections as a form of empowerment. So that moment, instead of being a roadblock in your attempts, actually becomes a moment you can push off from and use it to gain momentum in whatever you're about to do. Now, these techniques can be used for any form of discipline. It doesn't have to be an ongoing action like meditation or exercise or study. It can be something that you just don't really want to do, but you have to do. So you could imagine a similar scenario involving your accounts. You've said you're going to do them on a Sunday afternoon. It comes to the Sunday afternoon, and there are all sorts of reasons why you should put them off for next week. Maybe you've got friends that want to see you, or maybe there's something far more compelling then. The first stage in overcoming these objections that prevent you from carrying out your will is to identify which ones they are and which ones tend to win. So you'll find that they come in three broad categories. The first category is that of a confused approximation of what you're trying to do. So this could be the person who's got a meditation practice who decides they're not going to get up and sit in their meditation posture. Today, they're going to meditate in bed. And when the small moment of rational thought comes in, says, you'll go to sleep and you won't be able to meditate, you say, well, that's more of a challenge. I want a challenge. If I was a master meditator, I could do this anywhere. This could be a confused approximation involving a reason why you don't need to do what you've said you're going to do. So it could be, well, I said I'd run every morning, but I actually went shopping last night. Therefore, I've kind of gone running already, so I'm going to sleep in this morning. These confused reasons that you don't have to or are already doing what you say you're going to do can be extremely creative, and they're very interesting to look out for. The second category is good old negative self-speak. I can't do this. I just can't do it. Or it doesn't make any difference. Why am I bothering? I'm never going to lose weight. I'm never going to pass that exam. I'm never going to achieve this. And you're in this category if there's a feeling of sadness, it feels down, it feels very negative there. And you can look at the tone of your self-speak there and see what voice you're using. I find that the negative self-speak is very different to the excuses one. The excuses one is very positive. No, don't worry. This is all fine. The negative self-speak is got a very different tone. And the third category, which is also quite creative, is the rational reason why this goal should be done. So that could be, I was feeling a bit ill last night, so I won't run today. Better to rest when you're ill. And you'll find that if you give in to that one, you'll wake up and guess what? You're nowhere near as bad as the assessment you made in the warm bed. Or it could be things like, I can do this anyway. This is beneath me. I've learned all this. And that's quite a fun one because you'll find that the more challenging the undertaking, the more likely some people decide that it's too easy as a means to not do it. It could be reasons why you don't really need to do it or don't want to do it, and they'll be very well thought out, and some of them can be extremely convincing and even hard to find a logical answer to. So, to recap, are you coming up with some kind of change of plan that involves kind of doing what you said you were going to do? Are you talking to yourself negatively? Or are you coming up with rationalizations that involve not doing it at all? Once you've found the broad area that you tend to do, you know what to focus on. And this is going to be a wonderful form of training whereby you're going to learn to use the force of these objections as your motivation. So, if you find yourself thinking, I can do this, I no longer need to practice this, that's why in this circumstance I suddenly don't want to do this, you say to yourself, let's demonstrate this mastery then. If I'm a great master that can do this easily, this will be a triviality, let's just do it. If you find yourself saying, well, maybe I'll do this tomorrow, I'll start this diet tomorrow, or I'll start this discipline tomorrow, use that tomorrow thing. So I want tomorrow to be even better. I want to be able to wake up motivated knowing I've achieved something tomorrow. So today, now, I'm going to do this now. Think of a martial artist who uses the strength of an opponent to twist him round and throw him. Always keep this vision in mind whenever you feel this negative self-speak. As you practice, you'll find that the negative speak, or the approximation, or the rationalization, actually starts to get shortcutted. So whatever the beginning process was starts to just give you the ending. So let me explain. If you're the person that lies in bed and says, I'm actually going to do my meditation in bed because it's harder to do that, that's quite a creative one. You say, well, it's evidently not harder, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be getting up. So it feels hard to get up. Let's do the hard stuff. Let's do it. If you're the person who thinks, I'd like to do my accounts, but there's people who want to see me and I don't want to let them down, think, I've got enough respect for these people that I don't want to be distracted with a guilty conscience. I'm going to book something after the accounts are done so I can give them my full attention. You will have to find your own way of converting whatever your negative or internal objections are. Really, it's about reversing and using that energy. If the overriding feel is negative, one very powerful thing that I've seen others do is to associate that negativity with the consequences of failing to do the action. This is the healthy way to do this. You will see some people do the opposite. So they'll say, I'm overweight and I'm meant to be running and I'm feeling so bad, I feel like I can't achieve that. And they'll switch that to say, get running because you're so overweight, you terrible person. I really recommend you avoid that method. That's actually not a good long-term method. Instead, if you have a negative thing, so maybe you think, oh, I can't remember anything for my exams, so it's not worth studying. Instead of saying, well, study, because you're so badly educated, you've got to study. Don't say that to yourself. Say, well, if I don't study, then this will be true. So associate the negativity with the consequences of not doing it. That's a really important thing. If you're doing an approximation, take that wanting to adjust the exercise and make it more strict. So if you're the person that says, oh well, I said I was going to do exercise every day, and I've got something booked in later on that counts as exercise, so that really counts. Use that in that moment and specify. Say, I said I was going to run every morning. That's the definition. Run. And I'm glad to have this opportunity to clarify with myself. Get up and run. If you keep doing this, that conversion becomes automatic, and it's hard to communicate to someone who hasn't done this, but you'll find that after a while, the spark that creates it, you can't even sense the objection. The spark that used to be an objection has now converted into a motivation. And once your internal objections become your greatest motivations, what can stop you then?